Good morning, everybody. I want to welcome you to Pulaski County Fiscal Court. Sorry for the delay. We had some technical difficulties with our Facebook Live. But as is customary, we like to open our court meetings with the Pledge of Allegiance, and we've got a group with us today from Leadership Lake Cumberland, and I've asked longtime friend Bruce Gover if he'd be so kind to open us in the Pledge of Allegiance. If you all would please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And also, before we actually begin, it's been a tough week for a lot of families here in Pulaski County. You all are aware of the accident we've had on 27 and 70. Two young kids that are fighting for their lives now. We want to keep them in our prayers. Also, we had a young man that wrecked on a golf cart. We want to keep him in our prayers. I know Jason's step-grandfather, Larry Garner, passed away. We'll pray for that family. And, of course, our magistrate, Jimmy Wielden, is in Vanderbilt today getting another treatment, so we want to keep him in our prayers. Any others that we want to remember today that you all want to bring up? If you don't mind, I'd just like to take a moment of silence to remember these people and lift them up in our prayers. Okay, thank you all. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. First item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from our previous meeting. You all received a copy of those. Do you have any changes or deletions or anything, or we can approve them as presented?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Wilson and a second by Strunk. We have any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. No old business at this time. We do have a couple items under new business. First thing I need to do, we've had a petition to bring the back end of Heron Lane into the county road system. And I need to have a committee that would be willing to go and see that road and report back if I have a couple volunteers for that.
I'll volunteer since it's in my district. So,
Where's it at?
in my district,
It's off of 80.
off of 80, out there in Shopville.
I'll go look at it.
Actually, you might have put me on there because usually we pick a couple that's not in the district.
Well, it wasn't. I haven't even seen the back part of it either, so I gotta go look at it.
We can put me and Mike on there. We'll holler at you. You can go out there with us if you want to.
Okay. Thank you all. Next, we have, like I'd mentioned before, we have Leadership Lake Cumberland, some representatives from your group here. I think Ben is going to actually speak. If you'd like to come to the podium, please. This, just so you know, I mean, this group is a group out of the chamber, and they've done a lot of great things here in Pulaski County. Every year they have a group that they form, and they get to learn all about the county and visit a lot of the sites in the county, a lot of the industrial sites, a lot of the parks, you know, everything that makes Pulaski County great, they get to learn about. And at the end of the class, they usually have a project where they try to do a little fundraiser and do something to give back to Pulaski County to make it a better place. And we always appreciate that. But if you all want to talk about where you're at in your group here.
Good morning. My name is Ben Robertson, and with me today I have Ann Montgomery. We are part of the Leadership Lake Cumberland class of 2019. And we're here today to ask for permission to use the Judicial Center Plaza to create an experience that we're looking to bring to the community. So Leadership Lake Cumberland has plans to host an ice rink on the Judicial Center Plaza during the month of December. The group would take care of all fundraising, logistics, with no county work required. We're simply asking for permission in order to create a family-friendly, fun experience that would benefit the local community. We have approval from the Judicial Center and have secured adequate insurance that gives the liability to the county zero. And we plan to open the rink on weekday evenings and weekends. There'll be no conflict or impact with any of the normal operations of the Judicial Center. Our class, along with community volunteers, will operate the ice rink, and all monies generated through sponsorship and rink receipts will benefit local charities. Funds are going to be facilitated through the 501c3 organization Leadership Lake Cumberland. You have in front of you a graphic that kind of gives the idea of the layout of what we plan to do, and we appreciate your consideration in allowing us to use the Judicial Center Plaza, and hope that we can bring a fun, family-friendly, festive event this coming winter.
Questions?
Will this be done after court hours during the
Yes.
week and
Yes.
on the weekends?
And that was one of the hesitations that the Judicial Center had, was that it in no way can it impact the
Yeah, 'cause-
normal operations. So we're looking at maybe 6 till 9 in the evenings, weekdays, and then afternoons and evenings, Saturday, afternoon, Sunday.
Who would be picking up the electric bill for that?
Really, there shouldn't be any electric. It's a synthetic ice, so it doesn't require freezing.
That doesn't require any electricity at all?
If there is, it would be minimal.
Looks
would
like
be,
a good
you know,
idea to me.
the storage area for the
think so.
ice skates and for folks to pay. There may be some electric with that, but it should be minimal. And it's going to be placed, you'll see in the graph, there's 4 light poles. The plan is to place it in the middle of the 4 existing lamp posts that are on the plaza right now.
Will there be any vendor set up or anything like that around it?
If there are, it's not going to be our responsibility. We're simply asking just to bring the ice rink to the plaza.
So you just need our approval to do it?
Absolutely. We've got approval of the Judicial Center. We have insurance in place, and our final step is just to get fiscal court approval so that we can proceed with fundraising and planning.
And before we do, you also know we've got a memorandum of understanding that was supposed to be in place months ago, I believe. Jeff Burdett actually signed this, but Laurie Dudgeon from the AOC has recently brought this back down, saying that she's been tasked with getting this through. So we would need to do both together. If we're going to allow them to do this, we need to go ahead and
That's why I was asking you those questions, because in this memorandum, it speaks of all that, so.
AOC are aware of what we're doing. I think we've been working on this for maybe 6 or 7 months. It started with Judge Burdett, and then Judge Vanover is aware of it too. So.
So did you say this is 2019, Steve?
Yes.
So, okay. I make a motion, we approve it as long as the Judicial Center's approval and it works
We need
for
to
us.
do first, Steve. Good man.
do we need to do the MOU first? Okay.
Okay.
Why don't you rescind that, and we'll make a motion.
I rescind my motion for a moment.
All right. All right, so we would need then first a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding that you've been presented with.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Ranshaw and a second by Turpin. We have any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Now I'll renew my motion.
Yeah, you'd like to make a motion to,
Approved for a synthetic ice rink to be used on Judicial Center for the month of December.
motion, and a second by Turpin. Any further discussion?
Oh, I got one other question. Would it
All
be
in
something
favor?
going on
Oh, I'm
every
sorry.
year?
Pardon?
Is this something that will be renewed every year?
I mean, if it's a success,
I mean, I'm
ideally.
using it, okay.
We intend to, the monies that are generated are going to stay local, so I think it could be a huge event for Pulaski County and downtown Somerset.
It's a great idea. Okay, now I'm done.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all for your hard work. Can't wait to watch people skate. I don't know if I'm going to try it or not. Okay. Next then, we have a couple meetings ago, we approved our salary schedule. in court, but we have a couple changes that need to be made. You've got those in front of you. Can we just vote on accepting these changes as presented, Martin, or do we need to line item vote on them? Okay. First then would be Martin Hatfield needs to be $25 and .18012 to prevent him from going over the allowed maximum salary. Make that change.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Ranshaw and a second by Wilson. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And then Gail Davis is the one we contracted with the PC Extension Office. All of our other part-times got a $1 raise, but she was contracted at $10, so we're going to keep that where she's contracted at.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Ranshaw, second by Strunk. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. And then at 911, Aaron Smith needs to be 19.14030. There was a typo on his salary schedule.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Ranshaw, second by Strunk. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And these following jail employees that need to be included on their salary sheet for fiscal year 21-22. Jackie Meeks would be at $15 an hour, which includes the $1 an hour raise.
Are these new employees or on the scale? Did somebody answer that?
Yeah, I believe these are employees that have been added since.
I think
Salary
they were
schedule.
moved from part-time to full-time.
And it's all covered in the jail budget? Motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Ranshaw, second by Turpin. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, next then would be Jerry Girdler at $12 per hour.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Ranshaw, second by Wilson. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next would be Barbara Beckman at $12.25 per hour.
Motion.
Motion by Wilson, second by Ranshaw. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We have Amber Troxtel at $11.25 per hour.
Motion.
By Ranshaw, second by Turpin. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And finally, we have Tammy Pence at $11.25 per hour.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Ranshaw, second by Turpin. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next then, we are wanting to contract with security. We've actually talked to retired Detective Chris Lyons. He has agreed to contract for $25 an hour up to 24 hours per week as a seasonal security, and we also are doing interviews to get a second one, so we would like permission to contract with Chris Lyons at our parks to provide park security. And I'll just say the sheriff, we appreciate all you do, but sometimes you all are caught up in a lot of exciting things and you can't get down right away, so we thought during our busy season it would help to have somebody on site providing a little extra security.
They'll be DOJT certified as well.
And I know Ross didn't hear that. They'll all be DJOC certified.
What's the plan for this? I mean, how's it gonna I was gonna work job description, stuff like that.
You want to address the job description, Dan? You want to, I know we talked about being able to use them at all of our parks as needed.
Well, we're very blessed with our vast park system, White Lily, Firebrook, Eubank, Shottville, Woodstock, and Pulaski. But the job description is that, give you an example, last weekend, one of the park workers was there and went to clean and someone followed her home. And that's really worrisome for us. And then a couple weekends ago, White Lily was broke into, and they'd been there for a couple hours during the pandemic, and we wasn't aware of it. Of course, we put cameras up. And then this past weekend, we've had, some people coming in wanting to stay that's not camping, that are all hours of the night at the park, and kids are using golf carts, and we're just afraid, if we don't have someone there to help and assist when needed, that it will make things even worse. But their job description is more of a public relations, to help citizens and families feel safe and make sure our parks feel welcomed at different hours. From Thursday through Monday, we're still entertaining. For one, it's hard for one person Thursday through Monday, even with the Pulaski Park, because of the number of hours. But really, we're getting to the point where we're going to maybe put a guard shack up, unless you're putting a boat in, and are going to a campsite or a cabin, or riding in the trails at night like Bruce does, that you just don't need to be down there because they're vandalizing. And we have one of the best places in Lake Cumberland that's becoming a destination point, because we've been booked every weekend all the way up through September, and we want to continue that.
How will they coordinate with the sheriff's department?
Yeah, that's my question is, will they have arresting powers, and who supervises them? Will they have the ability to arrest outside the park?
Well,
how are they gonna be clocking in and out? There's a lot of questions involved
Well,
in
let me
this
answer
to
them.
keep up with it, and is this money already in the budget?
yes, it's there. So here's my thought. If you have two deputies, which is DOJT certified, Mr. Lyons has retired from Sheriff Speck's force, and if it's slow, he'll key in at signal 8, Aaron, on duty, 10-8. And if Sheriff wants him to, if he wants him to help with patrol, if the park's slow, he can go out and help the sheriff's department. Because it's a countywide thing. We just want them there when we need to, because it's stressful for any of our officers. On any given day, they're probably can be up to 45 minutes away, and immediate assistance. That it does relieve pressure from Sheriff Speck. So we hope to work incongruent with the sheriff's office.
And they live close to the park, or where they can run down there?
Yes.
They live close,
Yeah.
they can quickly get to the park.
Yes. But they will have arresting powers. They will work in close hand with Chief Ross. And that's one of the things that they need. We just the last 3 weekends, we've had people that's there that's not renting, that has had outstanding warrants and things like that, that they have worked with the sheriff's office, but it just helps relieve the pressure.
So who would be the direct supervisor?
Aaron Ross.
Aaron Ross?
And Judge
So the
Kelly.
Sheriff won't have
And Judge
any-
Kelly would be their direct supervisor.
as far as law enforcement.
They'll work in close collaboration with with Major Hancock and Greg Speck's office. That's one of the things that we've been we've been wanting to for a period of time. It's just that, I mean, there's a critical need for deputies, you know, and we've interviewed, and finally we found someone like, yeah, I'll be interested in trying that.
I would like to see something in writing. The process, the procedures, the chain of command, how they clock in, how they clock out. I would like, before we approve anything, it needs to be established, the procedures, what they're allowed to do, what they're not allowed to do. I would, rather than just jump in and throw somebody in there.
Well, but, and I agree with you, Mark, but being DOCJT certified, they know what to do. They're a trained sworn officer.
They'll
They know
clock
what-
in through 911.
They clock in through 911,
Just like Sheriff's Department.
just
would.
like Sheriff's Department.
I'd just like to see some kind of standard procedure of standard operating procedure of the chain of command and all that, all established before they start. In writing.
Well, we got to have the ability to have the two positions.
Yeah.
So these won't
You
be,
said this is already, we approved a budget with this money in
We've
it,
always had two security officers.
but is it in this budget that we just
Yes.
approved?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
still
don't,
in there.
I don't remember a line item for that.
and these would not be county employees, they would be contract employees, so we wouldn't have the benefits to pay and all the other things that go along with our employees.
But what do you think, Martin? What do you think we should do? As far as, should we have this established in writing? Before we,
No, I mean, I think you have it in writing. If you vote in favor of it today, it'll be in the minutes. I was trying to recall if there wasn't something 3 or 4 years ago when the constables wasn't there some guidelines that
Yes.
was prepared for that, I'm thinking?
Yes.
So you could use those same guidelines. I mean, legally, it's fine.
I think we need to go ahead and put it in place because the park needs the security down there bad. I'm down there quite a bit, and I see Greg's guys come through there a lot, but they can't hang out there and stay there. I mean, they got too much stuff going on. And they have been down there several times called here lately, haven't they?
Yeah, they're doing, we had some complaints come in early when the park first opened.
Yeah.
And I told my guys, I don't want to just go down there and do drive.
Sheriff, would you mind to come up to the podium here? We've got our Facebook crowd that wants to hear this discussion.
I told my staff, I said, I don't want just to go down and do drive-throughs. I want to go down and sit because we had,
And I've seen them sitting there too. Yeah.
we've had complaints of reckless driving, people that
Yes.
were dangerous to some of the campers. We had some complaints of course, loud noises and things like that, and that's not an environment that we want. I know that the county wants to put people down there camping in, so I directed my folks to go down there, and I've actually kept a log of the citations that they've been writing down there. They've been writing a lot of speed citations. We've made a number of arrests, and I told them early on, I said, we want to put the message out this year that we're not going to tolerate. It's not going to be a lawless place down there. So we tried to get that message across, and a lot of the citations and arrests that we've made have been to locals.
Yeah.
So hopefully that word gets out, and I understand the need for full-time. No, we can't be down there full-time.
Yeah.
My people are assigned to sectors. I'll typically have one person in the west sector, maybe two on a good night or afternoon. And of course, in between 911 calls and calls for services, they're going down and trying to patrol as much as they can.
Yeah, and I've seen them down there several times, and I appreciate that, but I really do think we need somebody down there a lot during the Friday night, Saturday nights, anyway.
So this is something that even though you just found out about today, you'd be okay with?
Yeah, I don't have any problem with security at the park. I think there's some issues that as far as, you know, what you're gonna do with use of force, things like that, any kind of internal investigations. I think those are things that you need to consider. Policies, procedure, but that's up to the judge. Any other questions on it?
Thank you. So how would we address his issues on use of force and?
It's like Dan said, they're already trained, Department of Justice trained. We would just have to let them use their law enforcement judgment whenever they're.
Would they abide by the same policies as the sheriff office for use of force?
I would imagine that's universal
Would that
for any
work?
law
Do you
enforcement,
think
isn't it?
that'll work?
Typically what happens if you have not only use of force, but say a complaint officer, we refer to policies and procedure, and then a supervisor would go on scene and do an investigation into the complaint or the use of force and make a determination whether or not it was justified or non-justified, or
Yeah.
substantiated or unsubstantiated.
So would your department be willing to investigate use of force on the park security?
Typically, one agency doesn't do internal investigations for another agency. I would think that would fall on Aaron Ross.
Okay. Aaron, you got anything to add?
As far as the policy procedures, what the sheriff's talking about, they would have to come up with that, and that would be modeled essentially after his office. We would take model policies from the state side, put everything together, and we would have a full policy manual just like the sheriff's department would. We haven't had one yet due to us not doing, a lot of stuff we do gets referred over to the sheriff's office. If I see anything, I'll still contact the deputy to assist me with that down at the park. But we would model it, would be full, just like the sheriff's policy and procedure wise. We'd have to do that according to the state. A lot of policies have to be put in place in order to get this active, but it wouldn't be an issue. There's a lot of model policies out there. But we just have to form that handbook for the officer.
How long would it take you to do that, and when can you bring that to court?
To put the minimums together, probably this week. That's just to put the minimums together. Of course, the sheriff's been working on his policy manual.
It's a work in progress.
Yeah.
So can you update the court next meeting with how that's progressing?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, we've got, like I said, we'd like to go ahead and contract with Chris Lyons, and then we'll.
Make a motion, we go ahead and contract with Chris about doing our security.
Second.
Motion by Strunk, and a second by Wilson. Do we have any further discussion?
Judge Chastity sent me, I guess FaceTime's good. Chastity Ross, my assistant, one of my assistants sent me the contract that the court approved previously, so I've got that too. We can modify that to fit this situation.
Good deal, yeah.
And if you're right in there, it said timekeeping done through 911 when they call
Yeah.
in.
Yep.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
We have a split vote. Let's take a roll call, please.
Turpin,
No.
Wilson,
Yes.
Ranshaw,
Yes.
Strunk.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. All right, next then will be our department reports. Sheriff would like to discuss a transfer of funds.
Yes, Judge. Periodically, we sell some of our old cruisers and rotate those out when they get to be high mileage. And let's see, on June the 17th, we conducted an auction of 6 of our older cruisers. And that auction netted $14,500 minus the 10% auction fee. That comes out to $13,050. And I would like to, with the court's permission, I would like to rotate those funds into our vehicle account to help buy new cruisers when we order them. Typically, that's what we've done.
So it has to go through, it has to come into us as revenue and then transfer back out? Because we don't have a vehicle fund for the county, that's all through you.
Right.
So,
I think what they do, Mark, is you all get a motion to allow me to transfer these funds into our vehicle account.
so the money came into the county's fund?
It came into the sheriff's office, then I have to get your permission to transfer it into our vehicle account.
Okay. So there's nothing that has to do with the county's budget at all, just your budget?
No, right.
Okay.
The thing that has to do with the county, and I have those here, I have the titles, and these vehicles can be taken off the county insurance policy. And of course, Joan's not here today. I can leave them with Judge, whoever you want to leave these with.
Yeah, I'll take them and make sure that she gets them.
Okay, so I guess what I'm asking for is a motion to permit me to move these funds into our vehicle account.
Motion.
Second.
Have a motion by Strunk, second by Wilson. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Thank you. All right, next in will be our road department. We have, on our road work request, we have a couple speed limits we need to set. I know in the second district, we have Smith-Vaught Road, be a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Ranshaw, second by Strunk. Any further discussion? All in favor?
No.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and then we also, in the third district, we have Roxy Lane. I want to set that at 25 miles an hour.
Motion. Oh, second.
Motion by Wilson, second by Ranshaw. Any further discussion? All in favor?
No.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. I believe that's all the speed limits we have. You don't have any on.
Mark's got one here. I don't know if it's replacing or.
No, it's a curve speed limit. It's not the whole road, it's just one curve on the road,
On our speed limit sign.
on a curve. We've never had to do that before. It's not the whole road.
Right.
So then we would entertain a motion to approve the rest of the road work request as a whole.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Strunk, second by Wilson. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next, then, we have a request for 3,000 tons of rock.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Wilson, second by Ranshaw. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, then, we have a request for 5,000 gallons of oil for our total patcher.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Ranshaw, second by Wilson. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? And we've got a request for 500 tons of hot mix.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Wilson, second by Ranshaw. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Then we've got next our emergency management. Aaron, would you like to approach the court?
SRT has bid out a satellite system, and we need to open the bid today. Appoint a review committee. Martin, don't care to open it for us?
Looks like it's from Satellite Communications. Is that right? No, I'm not sure. IP Access International LLC, and the bid is $30,705.
This is for the satellite system that was burnt on their communications truck in the fire.
Did it have
Motion
any,
to accept for review.
Be a review for now. I'll let Chief Baker look over it to ensure that it meets his specifications for what he bid out.
Second.
We have a motion by Strunk, a second by Wilson. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. So Aaron, who would you like to have on that review committee with you?
I can set with Doug Baker, then any magistrates or Dan, or anybody wants to join. That system there I'm kind of unfamiliar with, so
I'll point Dan to sit with you often.
that's fine.
And to let everyone know, they're not, should clarify this, because John had a heart attack here listening to us. So they're still in the process of going through the contents because of the fire damage, and so this will come out of, once they finalize the loss, will come out of the loss contents of the damage. This is not additional money coming out of the fire commission.
I do have a question along that line. The insurance money, is that being funneled through the fire fund? Because there's a $69,000 bill on the bill list for a command vehicle.
Yes.
So the insurance, everything for SRT is being funded or being funneled through the fire fund. And then whatever the insurance company's not paying for, then SRT said they already had the money to pay for the difference, right?
Yes, everything that's the building, the contents, anything that's been purchased through fiscal court that's the checks are coming through fiscal court, and we're soliciting bids, and as those monies come in, for example, the satellite won't be bought until those funds come in.
I'm just saying, the insurance funds are being transferred to the
Yes.
fire fund,
Yes.
correct?
Yeah.
And then whatever the insurance money's not taken care of, SRT already stated that they had the funds to take care of the rest.
Absolutely.
Okay, so,
The other things that's on here is the, Stacy, if you'll come up and speak how you want to, the pumper and the tanker surplus.
Yeah, the city of Somerset's apparently finished with the trucks that they was using in 2002 HME pumper. And then the 2003 International tanker, my understanding, they've got replacement trucks, so they come to Fire Commission last meeting and asked to surplus these two vehicles.
Which one was it?
It'd be engine 2 and their tanker.
Oh, you mean Somerset?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had a question from one of the chiefs. I guess Ferguson was interested in purchasing one or both of the surplus trucks, right? Is that,
Me and Martin had a discussion about that. The city had obviously priced these trucks to Ferguson Fire Department. Martin said they couldn't do that because the trucks actually belong to the county. So probably what we'll do is bring them back and then do a sealed bid on them for any interested volunteer fire departments. We'll have a meeting Monday night at the Fire Commission, so any department that's interested in them can do a sealed bid, and we'll open bids, and whoever's got the highest bid.
any idea of the market value of these vehicles right now?
Me and Frank was looking, what was some of the,
Now, why, I'm a little confused here. They're already titled in the county. Why would a county volunteer fire department have to bid on these and pay for them?
Well, we've got multiple departments that's interested in the tanker. I haven't, one department I know for the engine. The tanker, there's probably 3 or 4 departments that's interested in purchasing. So the only fair way would be to do a bid process.
And where would the money from the purchase go to?
Back to the fire fund.
Back to the fire fund?
Yeah. Should go back into the fire fund.
Okay.
We need permission then to surplus the 2002 HME pumper.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Wilson, second by Strunk. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And then we'll also need permission to surplus the 2003 International tanker.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Ranshaw, second by Strunk. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you all. Next in, we have Danny Masson with Solid Waste.
First thing I have to present this morning is the 2021-2022 109 Board fiscal year budget that was approved at our 109 Board meeting on June 21st.
That's a new budget?
That's for this year.
We don't need a motion for that. You're just presenting it to court. Is that correct, Mark?
Yes.
I do have a question, if you don't mind taking one.
Yeah.
There's a surplus and carryover of $500,000, and your projected for this coming year is $655,000. The county in the general fund pays hundreds of thousands of dollars in additional expenses. I know you reimburse for payroll, but the county still pays hundreds of thousands of dollars in other expenses. Is there any way the 109 board this surplus can go towards some of those other expenses?
We can talk
Is that
and look at
something
it.
that can be looked at and that can help out our general fund?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't
always
know
welcome to
what
talk
the
about it.
reserves all cover or anything like that the counties.
Yeah, if we keep a reserve in case if one of our balers do go down, they cost hundreds of thousands of dollars and they're vital to our operation. So if we lose one, then we have to replace. Then, we're looking $200,000 to $300,000 to replace at one time. So
I'm just looking at maybe some way you can sit down with Joan and see if there's any line items on the county budget that the 109 board can help us out with.
Yeah.
To offset some of the expenses that we're paying.
Yeah.
For
sure. I think the administration we have here and myself, I think we've worked really well together over the past few years, and we've found ways to make it better.
I'm just asking if to look at it and see if there's any offset we can do.
Yeah, always.
Like
we're willing to work and do our part to help the county. The second thing bringing today is some good news on our grants. The state awarded 2 of our grants that we applied for. Our recycle grant, we were awarded $278,302.89. We were awarded the largest recycle grant in the state, which will allow us to get some equipment that will go to work with App Harvest as they move into our community, and as well as we're working with them at their Richmond and Berea sites. We're getting a new skid steer that'll allow us to move one of our skid steers from our location at the recycling center out to the compost facility to use out there. And then we're going to introduce styrofoam recycling to our stream. So this will be the first time the county has recycled styrofoam. So it gives our residents another option to recycle another product. On the compost side, we've got a grant for $385,632.88. Again, we were awarded the largest compost grant this year, which will allow us to continue to to grow that facility out there. We have money to continue to grind with and get equipment that's needed out there. So some good news from the state. We applied for another grant. We weren't awarded it, but we were a finalist in the rubber modified asphalt grant, but they this year awarded it to counties that hadn't received that grant before.
Is this a 100% grant? Or
We do a match, and we match based on our in-kind of employees working out there. So we never have any issue. We go above and beyond on each grant each year on matching.
Okay. Great job.
Danny, I appreciate all you do over there. I know you're a great grant writer. You've done very well with grants, and he's even helped us in our office from time to time on a few things, so keep up the good work. I'm excited about that compost facility. I can't wait to see that in full operation and see how that's going to serve our public. It's going to be a big thing.
Thank you, Danny.
All right. Right, now we have, I guess, Rod, are you going to come here and talk about the EGL contract?
Gentlemen, first of all, I want to say, Anthony, he couldn't be here this morning, and he sends his regards. We had another meeting he had to attend to, and with that, y'all have been presented with a copy of the agreement that we're looking at going into with EGL. We've been using the jail tracker system. Most of the jails in the state of Kentucky are switching over, it's my understanding, to EGL. We applied through a grant with the tailmate system to pay for the cost of this. There's going to be no cost back to the county or to the taxpayer on this. And at the end of the year, we're going to be able to recoup a savings of somewhere between $2,500 to $3,000 a year. If that, you can see the totals on that. And with that, if there be no questions, I would ask for approval.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ranshaw, second by Turpin. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries.
Thank you, fellas.
Thank you, Ron. All right. Next then, as you know, Joan is out sick this week. She's going to be off. Pray for her quick recovery, but I've got to present her financials today. First thing I've got is your bill list. You all received a copy of that. What would be your pleasure with that?
Motion. Second.
A motion by Strunk, a second by Wilson. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And I was instructed at the last minute, I don't think you all have these, but I've got two invoices that were not on the bill list, both for McGowan Excavating. This is, the first one is for $7,644. This was for work that was done on Singleton Road, which was our discretionary grant that we received. They had to go in and do new cross tiles and do ditch lines and put channel liner in. But that bill is for $7,644, and then I've got a second one for work that was done on Clifty Hill Road, where they broke down a big rock wall, I guess, in the curve of the road and removed that and cleaned up that area. That was $11,910.83, and I would like to request payment on these invoices.
Motion.
Second.
A motion by Strunk. We have a second by Ranshaw. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Alicia, you'll probably need a copy of those, so I'll get Amber to get that for you. Okay, next in is our bank reconciliation. You all received a copy of that. Do you have any questions?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Wilson, second by Strunk to accept the bank reconciliation. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And finally, we have one fund transfer going to the jail fund from the general fund for $100,000.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Wilson, second by Ranshaw. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Quite a bit of work to take care of today. Finally, we've come to our citizens' comments, and appreciate your patience and waiting to discuss. I appreciate the reason you're here. But we've got Sheena Holland with us today, who would like to voice some of her concerns and maybe offer some solutions.
Hello, so my name's Sheena Holland. I live on the lower end of Piney Grove Road in Nancy, Kentucky, which is District 1. I am representing the lower end of Piney Grove due to the ongoing issues we're having with the PC Park Trail that connects from Pulaski County Park to our end of Piney Grove Road. It's been an ongoing concern for years. We're just requesting it be looked at more in detail. It needs better signage. Every year we end up with various members of our community plus campers that are staying at PC Park. Last week we ended up with 4 preteen boys, 3 bicycles because one was so panicked he left it on the trail. It was almost 10 o'clock. Of course, what we end up doing is calling parents. We have to load bicycles plus boys up, and we drive 14 miles around to the park to get these kids back to the parents who are on the trails looking for the kids. We've had local lawyers show up at my house, along with sketchy people showing up at my house. Sometimes we are there, sometimes it is my teenage daughter. So we feel like one of the biggest ways to resolve it is, I feel like the park needs looked at, the trail needs to looked at better for better signage to know which trail you're on. There are signs on each end, and they are not good enough. Granted, you can go online to the park website. There's great detail of the maps. People that are visiting our county are not going online looking at the maps nor following them, but what people do is by the time they come onto Piney Grove and they enter the gravel road, they think they are on a road that's at the park and they can circle around and end up back in the park. So we end up with adults on bicycles, kids. The youngest we've had show up was 8 months. They had a baby with them. So, and again, just various community members plus, people visiting the park, camping and going on the trails. So we have high traffic on our road, not only because of Bear Wallow in the fall, but people who go to the lower end of Piney Grove Park to hike or, go from our side of the road. The road's very deteriorated. We're going back to the 80s to the gravel, so that would be a perk as well. But mainly the biggest request we are looking at is specific signage on maybe each end of the trail, especially our end of the trail that says stop. You have to turn around and go back to get back to the park.
Okay, well, and I know this is something, that we've dealt with, throughout my administration, and we've addressed many areas of it to improve it. I know Stacy's been out on rescues out there, and the fire department out there has been on rescues. I know we've had, I guess SRT's been out there, and
We've assisted.
Okay, and so there's been multiple times we've done that, and we've worked hard to coordinate with our 911 to give them updated maps of the trail so they know how to dispatch people to the area. So we are constantly working with it. Improved signage definitely would be a bonus and a plus, and we've got a team of volunteers that work out there.
Put some signs up that said PC Park Trailhead, just several places along the trail, with arrows, that way they...
Pointing back. Yeah, and we've got, like I said, we've got one of the riders here, Bruce Govers, with us today. He's out there probably weekly, if not daily. I don't know how often he goes, but there is a club, for lack of better words, that goes out and rides together all the time, and they're a group of volunteers that go and clean up those trails, and thank God for them. They keep them in good shape. But yeah, I think signage would definitely help. We just got to figure out where and what exactly to put on the signs. But we are working on it. We are aware that it is an issue. Anytime you have something popular like that brings people from all points of the state or surrounding states, you're going to end up with people unfamiliar with the area. So that's an ongoing battle, but I do appreciate your concern, and we definitely don't want to cause you any harm in your area, in your neighborhood there. We want to try to keep that from being a hindrance to you. So we will.
Yeah, and we're not requesting like the trail be shut down or anything like that, just proper signage, especially on our side that says you have to turn around and go back.
We're always looking to make it better. I have heard from somebody that is a big fan of trails that says, east of the Mississippi, we've got the best trail system that they've been to. So I'm excited to hear that kind of feedback, but it always takes constant effort to make it better.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Holland.
I have a comment before we close.
Sure.
I just want to kind of reiterate the fact that if you were affected, if your personal property was affected by the flood or any of those items, that FEMA has extended. I know the paper wrote about it, but I want to also put it on video, that they extended till the 23rd to file for that. And I would encourage everybody that had property damage due to the flood and all that to go to FEMA's website and apply, because the worst they can tell you is no. The best they can tell you is, here's a check to cover your expenses. So I would encourage anybody with, whether you're a renter or a property owner or a business, to go there and file. I think it ends on the 23rd, so there was information in the paper about it. So, and also, in that same line, I know in my district, we had a lot of damage due to the flood and all that, and I just wanted to make it a point. I get a few phone calls, one's like Blaze Valley. When are they going to fix the road? Can you talk about, I know, Dan, you're heading up the FEMA response and all that. Can you talk about that so people understand just how long it's going to take to get some of this stuff done?
The federal government is very great to deal with. The paperwork is just wonderful to deal with. We had just finished up the ice storm, which was about $432,000. And we had to go back. Every tree that we cut that was a leaner, we had to identify if there was a stump removal, because they have archaeological, Kentucky is an archaeological designated area. Latitude, longitude, their time sheets had to match up and make sure then we had to actually go back and, well, who decided who went where? And we just finished up processing about 20-some hundred yards of material at our green waste center with just that ice storm, 20-some hundred yards. We probably processed about 8,000 to 10,000 yards and finishing grinding the material. Now we're beginning the great journey of the flooding. Now, one of the things that we went around with FEMA, they were here, and we took them to some of the worst damage, such as Bridge Long Hollow, Clay Hill, Blue John, Keno, and then we done the mid, such as what you're talking about at Blaze Valley as you approach the bridge, and then some of the lower ones are entrance tile. So we had to document, take pictures, then we had to make sure we had pictures on every bit of the flood damage that we had. Now, then they sent 2 biological engineers to us, and so we have to do biological mitigation. And so now we're in a process of they have to give us a mitigation plan per incident. And so we have to make sure whether it was an entrance tile, gravel, or we're going to use native plants and so forth. And if we wait and do that, they will fund 100%. So that's that's our next phase. We've been on a conference call every Wednesday, starting at 10. So we're beginning that phase. But it's time consuming. But the good thing is, flood damage that's occurred, not only during that incident, But throughout this, we can possibly add, because we're looking probably about $3 to $4 million in flood damage. And this is the first time since 2000, since my recollection, that private citizens can go on that website. And, you know, Patterson Branch, for example, you know, bless their hearts, they've dealt with flooding there, but, you know, they have opportunity to go on. Now, whether they utilize that or not, that's entirely up to the individual, but it's there for assistance. But it is time consuming. Paperwork's great, you know. But Ms. Holland spoke about another grant that's out there we haven't been awarded yet. Is we applied for the Trails Grant, $200,000. It's still in the review phase. And the areas that she's talking about is Porter Creek and Piney, where the swinging bridge is. And once they get there, a lot of that signage was damaged. And the great wonders of that, you know, it's four miles in to put a sign up. That's 4 miles back. And our maintenance guys have got other things going on. So we're relying on a contractor because we had good signage that was in that area because they get turned around. And I agree, needs to be improved signage. But also, the Abbotts that live at the end of Lanetown, years ago, at the end of their farm, is where the Piney Grove Swinging Bridge and Porter Creek, that's where it was accessed and where it was built. So he has allowed us to have access to that. And one of the things that I took Aaron out, that at different times, with getting our security officers, they will have the opportunity to go in the trail and be there at dusky dark, to understand it, to be a part of that, because it is scary. I think, was it last weekend, Stacy, that there were 3? Was it last weekend there was 3? And it is scary because the great thing, we have about 16 miles of trails, and they look different at dark. But our trail committee that works on it, Bruce is there. They've been wonderful assistants. You ought to see them take a bicycle and a wheelbarrow carrying gravel up a hill to fix something. That's very impressive, along with Aaron Denny. So that's in the process of putting in place because we don't want anyone coming to our park, and whether you lose a dog or a kid, we're there for you as quickly as possible.
Thank you very much for the update. So I just want to reiterate, if you have property damage, go ahead and file with FEMA, because the worst they can tell you is no. The best thing they can do is give you a check. So,
No other business, we entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion by Wilson, second by Strunk. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you all.